my dear family. So I bet you're wondering why the title of this video is Holy Toledo. Because we went to Toledo, Spain, and I got a sword! But more about that later. So this week has been a week. Wow! Monday was pretty chill. I went over to the Madden's house to play a little piano just for fun, and their kids came over to me while I was just plunking away, and Marcus, the 10-year-old, he was like, hey, can you teach me something? And I was like, yeah, totally. And so me and Danny and him were all just jamming out on the piano doing chopsticks, and I honestly was like, cause it made my heart happy a little bit because I just love pianos and I love how anybody can love pianos no matter like where they're from. Then that night I was also able to study with one of the students named Anu, who's super cool by the way. Yeah, remember in the last video I said that her mom knows my mom from Molokai High. Well, she was doing her first bit of Spanish homework and I was able to like help her understand what the questions were asking and stuff, and she was doing awesome. She just needed a little confidence. On Tuesday, we went to a conversation club for Spanish speakers to go practice their English and English speakers to go practice their Spanish, which seems like a pretty cool idea. While we were there was this person with an Australian accent, and you know how I am with accents, I'm just like, oh! I talked to her a little bit. I feel so bad because I already forgot what her name was, but she was cool. We all got together, the students in the group, and we played a game of Pirates Dice. Which, if you don't know how that works, basically everybody has a couple dice and they roll them and they don't show anybody and they look at their dice and they look around the circle like, I wonder how many of each type of number there could be. So there's numbers 1 through 6 on a dice, you know. And so we were going around and the idea of the game is to bet higher than the person before you bets. And so if you're on 4s, you can move up to 5s, like 3 5s or 4 5s. If you're on 5s, you can move up to 6s, like 2 6s or 3 6s. So we were already on something ridiculous, like 4 6s. And so Riley accidentally said 3 7s, which is not possible because there's not a 7 on the dice. And everybody died laughing. It was so funny. And it's like an inside joke now. 3 7s! On Wednesday, we went to El Museo de Cervantes. Cervantes is the guy who wrote the Don Quixote book. He's a pretty big deal. It was cool. We also went and saw this restaurant called La Rollerie, which sounds more French than Spanish, but it had like leaves all over the walls and it was pretty cool. On Thursday, I took a different way home from class than I usually do, because usually like here's the class, here's the thing, everybody goes boop 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 boop, but I went the other way. Just for fun, just to see if I could get lost and find my way back. While I was walking, I saw some green parrots mixed in with the pigeons and stuff, just eating bread that people were feeding them. It was super cool. On the walk, I also discovered a comic store with Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and obviously, I love superheroes, so that was cool to find. And then Friday happened. Before I tell you about Friday, though, I need to go fold my laundry. Be back.
I don't know about you guys, but I love the kind of videos where everything's all messy and then they do like super speed it up and then they clean everything super fast and it's like, pink, it's clean. It's like Mary Poppins or something. So that's what I'm gonna do for you right now. Another thing I love is how warm clothes are when you take them out of the dryer and then you put them on and you're just in a blanket of coziness.
On Friday, we went to Madrid. Just a couple of cool students going out on the town. The first people we ran into were Mickey and Minnie. Yes, Mickey and Minnie Mouse. Here's a little tip if you ever go to a big city. If people are wearing costumes or something, usually they want you to pay them money to take pictures. I didn't know this, so that was my bad. Just speed walk past the costume people. I went to a money changing station to change my American currency to euros, and I gave him an amount, and I was pretty sure I knew how much euros that was when what he gave back to me was not that much. He took out a good chunk, charging me for changing the money, but it was like half of it. It reminded me of in the Bible when there were money changers inside the temple that Jesus cleansed, and they were all like, oh, you have to use special temple money instead of the normal money that you usually have, and but it's okay. I'm not gonna let it ruin my day in Madrid, right? We passed a theater in Madrid and they were showing 2 plays. They were showing Anastasia and Lion King. and they both looked really cool. Lion King was El Rey León. I thought to myself, do people who are professional actors and actresses, do they have to learn all our lines and things in Spanish when they go and perform internationally? I still don't know. I haven't researched it yet. Speaking of musical theater, guess who can sing? Riley! One time we were walking or something and Riley was just casually singing and I was like, oh, and it sounded so pretty. We walked around for a bit and wanted to take a picture in front of this pretty fountain thing. This guy just offers to take the picture for us and he's with his buddy and we're like, okay. And so Emily hands over her phone and then the guy walks about 20 feet away and then he turns around, sticks the phone in his pocket and starts walking and he's like, bye-bye. And all of us are like, no, 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 no. He totally got us. All of us were like, he's gonna steal it. But he was joking. The scary thing is that could have been real. Theft is a big problem in the big city. Anyways, after the phone fiasco, we all went to lunch at a place called Taco Away, which is kind of like takeaway and taco put together. There was a cute guy who took our orders. That was fun. That enchilada filled me up. So we took a train across town to the museum where we were supposed to have a tour. I stood on the link, like, you know the part of the train in the movies where the two cars are like connected and it's this little hitch? Well, in Madrid, it's like a little hallway. So I stood on there and the floor was moving and the wall was moving because the train was like bloop, bloop. So we got to the art museum. We went to the front entrance. We were like, okay, we're here. And so we walk in and the guy says, oh, you gotta walk all the way around the building, go to the back. And all of us were like, okay. And so we walked down the stairs and we walked around the building and there were all these street vendors, but they just had blankets. So I call them blanket street vendors. Catchy, right? They all had different things on their blankets like cups and shoes and random articles. We got to the art museum and inside all the paintings were a little bit, interesting. Kind of like something out of Alice in Wonderland. Then I realized why. Guess who's from Spain? Picasso. Picasso influenced so many artists in Spain. And we got to witness that in the art museum where everything seemed a little bit kind of weird and funky. Enjoyed the art museum and we got out and went to the bookstore across the street. This was a snazzy bookstore. We got out of the bookstore and went back to Alcalá and we planned the most epic surprise for Jamie. So Jamie recently had her 22nd birthday and we hadn't really had enough time to prepare anything, which I was just gonna let slide, but other members of the group were like, no, we're gonna do something about this. I think it was Riley's idea. Other people probably contributed too. Just Riley was the one who told me about it. She said, we're all meeting at the ice cream experience so we can surprise her. And I was like, oh, okay. And someone had purchased her a watch with the Spain flag on it because her watch that she already has isn't adjusting to the time zone for some reason. And so it was a very appropriate gift. It was so fun. And the ice cream experience was actually a pretty snazzy ice cream joint. We went inside and I asked the people behind the counter, I'm like, hey, our friend, she just turned 22, so can you play the song 22 by Taylor Swift? And the lady behind the counter, she just smiled. She's like, I got you. And I was like, yes. And so we were all rocking out. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22. We're happy, free, confused, and lonely at the same time. It's a bop. The next day was Saturday, and we went to Toledo. Now let me tell you a little bit about Toledo. Toledo is over 2,000 years old. So this city was around in biblical times. It is literally the city set on a hill because this place is like a roller coaster. There were hills everywhere. We had to go up 5 flights of escalators to get to the center of the city. Our tour guide even said, do you know how many hills we have here in Toledo? Me neither. He had an interesting accent. It's the city of 3 religions, Muslim, Jewish, and Christian. There used to be 42 convents with Catholic nuns, but now there's 12. To help pay the bills, the nuns make mazapan, which is like this almond kind of bready thing. After walking the tour around Toledo, which is more like a hike, we stopped for lunch. We ate lunch and then we went to this museum. It was a pretty tiny museum, but we saw some archaeological digs around the city that claimed to be from Christ's time. We went to this one church to see the most famous painting in all Toledo. It was really cool. We saw this lady in the street performing Don Quixote. She had egg cartons on her back and on her chest, and on her arm, like as a shield and armor, and she had a piece of wheat for a sword. She had on a little hat like the one the Tin Man wears in Wizard of Oz. It was interesting. She spoke both Spanish and English, and some of the parts of the performance she gave was singing and some was talking. There was a lot of street performers, actually. There was a guy on a trumpet, a guy playing a harp, a guy playing the accordion. We ended the day with a little free time, and I was going to go and kind of explore, but Marcus, he was like, hey, can you stay with us? And I was like, sure. And so we were walking around. You know, I feel a connection with Marcos and James because both of them were just like, oh, swords! And I was just like, oh, swords! Now, normally I'm not super big into getting souvenirs. Like, for me, a picture is a souvenir. That's good enough. But when I saw all those medieval-looking sword stores, I just had to get one. Shing! So I got a sword. Here's what it looks like up close. It says Hecho en Toledo, which means made in Toledo. It says Alfonso X, which Alfonso X was royalty. He was the son of Ferdinand and Isabella, the guys who sent Columbus on his way to the Americas. I honestly just think this is the coolest thing ever. And I checked. I think I'll be able to get it through customs. We'll see. That's all for this week. Stay sharp. Ciao for now.